The FIM Enduro World Championship returns to the Aveyron region in the south of France for the first time in 15 years and hosts the final round of the 2015 championship race. The seventh event of the campaign takes the riders right through the town of Requista, with all 6 classes still up for grabs. Over 5,000 spectators packed into the town centre to cheer on their home hopefuls in the final super test of the year. And among over 100 competitors, French stars Mathieu Balino and Christophe Nambertin stood out in their respective classes. For Balino, it was a 5th outright super test win of the campaign, while Christophe Nambertin took a satisfying first in E1. Italy's Alex Salvini set the fastest opening test time in E2, stopping home representatives from locking out top spot in all 3 categories. The riders set off for the first of 3 laps of the course, taking in the town centre extreme test, before moving to the north of the town for the enduro test and east to the hospital Bellegarde for the cross test. A total of 55 kilometres through a technically challenging and title-deciding route.
Sur le Grand Prix de Belgique.
Lorenzo Santolino came into France 4 points behind main rival Danny McCanny in the race for the championship bronze. His deficit was halved to 2 after a 4th position finish on day 1. A mid-season entrant to the E1 category, Anthony Boissiere moved into the top 10 overall for the first time in 2015, when he finished over 20 seconds clear of his nearest podium rival on stage 1. Christophe Nambertin took advantage of a 3-month break in the calendar to undergo surgery on damaged knee ligaments, returning in France to top the timesheets in the first 2 tests of the weekend. But he faded to second midway around lap 2 as he struggled through the enduro test and dropped back 18 seconds. Hera Remes was only fastest through 1 of the first 4 tests, but finished the day at the top of the timesheets in 4 of the remaining 5 tests to take first. Extending 3 further points clear of Christophe Nambertin, the Finn moved 10 points overall ahead after a near 30-second win. Julien Gauthier impressed with 10 points as a wildcard performer, but the top 5 from Belgium were matched on stage 1 in France.
Le manufactureur Luca Cervelli de chez GP. Allez Dani, Dani.
Oriol Mena looked settled in 6th in the championship, but took the scalps of 2 riders ahead of him in the standings, with 4th position on stage 1. Jeremy Tarou started the season in E3, but continued his progress in E2 with a podium finish. The Sherco rider fastest through 2 of the opening 4 tests, but dropped from 2nd by just a second. Antoine Mayo needed 4 championship points to secure a 5th World Championship crown and settled for a comfortable podium finish after a mistake cost him victory. The French rider lost 13 seconds on the final extreme test and eventually missed out on the win by less than 12. Mayo's run of 4 consecutive gold medals was ended last year, but he got back on top with a round to spare in 2050. Alex Salvini built his winning margin with fastest times in 2 of the 3 extreme tests and by topping the timesheets in 4 of the contested 10. The Italian needed 2 victories to keep slender championship hopes alive, but with Mayo securing the necessary points, satisfaction would have nonetheless been taken from a second 2015 win. Loic Laria and Jaume Petriu were both kept out of double-figure scoring. 5 of the top 10 riders in E2 represented the host nation.
Aux côtés d'Alex Salvini, le manufactureur, avec et Franco.
Yeah, it's a big satisfaction, the new title. Not a well performance because I make a lot of mistakes today and I lose the victory. But anyway, I'm very happy. It was difficult. I have a little pressure because if I not finish the day, I lose the title. So I was focused on my riding, but I did too much mistake and Salvini was more fast. So second, it's not so bad today.
Agar Liok hoped to find his form during the late season break after an underwhelming Belgian Grand Prix and took strides back towards the podium with 4th and a consistent day's riding. A slow start to the day and a fall in the first cross test kept Matti Sestela back from the leaders until the second half of the stage, when the Finn completed a recovery from 5th to 3rd and a 7th podium finish of 2015. Any kind of top 2 finish would be enough for Mattia Balino to secure the world crown after stage 1, with a 24-point advantage in his pocket. The Frenchman clearly came to his home Grand Prix looking for a win. Despite setting off with fastest times in each of the opening 2 tests, he eventually settled for 2nd and the title. Matthew Phillips has been too inconsistent to put in a sustained defence of the E3 crown. Since the opening 2 rounds of the season has been the strongest rider in the category and came up with a 5th win of the campaign on stage 1 in France. Antoine Basset picked up a 5th consecutive double-figure score in 6th behind the championship top 5.
It's a really great day for me, as you can guess, but after, when you go really down with the injury and when you think you will never get up, and then to be back here and to be world champion, it's just magic, you know. Also, I would like to say a big thanks to my team. It's the best of the paddock, and without them I couldn't achieve this goal. And yeah, this title is also for them.
With 2 of the senior classes already decided, the E1 category was the focus of spectators on stage 2 in France.
Avec les applaudissements du public pour Rolès et Christophe Norbotin. Départ de...
Lorenzo Santolino got the better of Danny McCanny to snatch 3rd in the world on the final day of the season. The Spaniard was 5 seconds behind his rival before snatching the result on the last test of the year. Anthony Boissiere completed his injury-hit campaign with a 2nd consecutive podium that confirmed his recovery. E1 was the only senior category still up for grabs coming into stage 2, with Christophe Nambertin looking to recover a 10-point margin built up by Ero Remes in Italy and Belgium. The Frenchman conceded almost 15 seconds in the first enduro test, leaving himself to recover from 6th to 2nd on the day. Ero Remes was the top E1 performer in 3 laps of the enduro test, enabling himself to build a margin over Christophe Nambertin and head gradually towards the E3 title. The Finn closed the day with a 12-second advantage, pushing to a fourth consecutive victory at the end of the campaign, despite needing just a top 4 finish to seal the crown.
2015, le pilote du TM Racing, le pilote finlandais.
Daniel Sanders scored 7 points over 2 stages on his E1 debut, not interrupting the championship regulars.
It's a nice ending to series like be on the top, and this been my goal many years that I came World Championship, and now it's true. So it feels so good, and I'm really happy about that.
Christophe Nambertin was defeated in each of the last 8 days of competition by Eero Remes as the Finn took the title. Oriol Mena finished only 7 seconds from the podium after a stage-long battle with fellow countryman Jaume Betriu. The Beta rider took his best finish of the season with 4th. Betriu took his first podium of the season in 3rd, both Spaniards taking advantage of retirements of Johnny Aubert and Loic Larrieux, as well as the absence of Antoine Mayo and Victor Guerrero. With the retirement of the 3 French representatives, Jeremy Tarou took up the mantle in E2 with a second consecutive podium in 2nd. Consistent through the day, the Sherco rider finished 14 seconds clear of his nearest rival. Alex Salvini took a 3rd victory of the season with a clean sweep at the top of the timesheets. In the absence of his season-long rival Antoine Mayo, the Italian capped off 2015 with a double win, perhaps a slightly more relaxed day for the former champion, with 2nd place in E2 already confirmed. No less than 6 riders matched or improved on their best result of the season after 4 retirements in E2. Jaume Betriu overhauled Loic Larrieux on the last day of the season, but otherwise the top positions remained unchanged in the class. Luis Correa finished 17 seconds ahead of Thomas Oldrati in 4th, but some way adrift of the podium. The results reflected his isolated campaign in 5th in the championship. Jonathan Barragan returned to major scoring after a mere 8th place finish on day 1, taking a first podium since the Spanish Grand Prix in May. Matti Sestala took 2nd and closed the 2015 season with a 4th consecutive podium finish. Only in the closing stages did the leader pull away, as there was rarely much more than 10 seconds between the top 3 until the final lap. Mattia Balino was top of the timesheets in all but 2 of the tests, nonetheless managed to amass just a 17-second lead in 8 tests. That gap was eroded late on the 3rd lap, but by then time had run out for his main rival Matti Sestala. Balino's victory was his 8th of the 2015 campaign and gave him a 33-point championship-winning margin. A subdued day for Matthew Phillips further demonstrated the inconsistency that cost him the E3 crown in 2015. Thomas Oldrati overhauled Antoine Basset in the only change to the championship positions on the final day of the campaign. None of Christophe Nambertin, Pierre-Alexandre Renet or Matthew Phillips could defend their titles in a competitive 2015 season. And with a new class to look forward to in 2016, the quest for the title will be hotter than ever when the riders take to the track next year.
Belgique, Christophe Navetin.